Chosen one, if this message reached you today, it's because you were spiritually pulled here. This message was set in motion long ago. What if I told you they never wanted you to know how terrifying your peace would become for them? You have lived in shadows of doubt, feeling the sting of betrayal and the cold shoulder of those you loved. Today you will discover a reversal so profound, your calm becomes their undoing. Your journey from brokenness to unshakable stillness has stirred a force they cannot withstand, and you will learn how heaven moved in silence, turning the tables without your lifting a finger. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay with me, chosen one, because the truth they buried is about to rise, and it will set you free. When the energy turns back, they had watched you in hush before dawn, seeing you sit in silence as the world around you surged with noise. In that stillness, you felt a quiet echo stir within your chest, as though a hidden chamber in your spirit opened to reveal a secret light. It came like a soft breeze through an open window, carrying the scent of jasmine and the promise of something they could neither name nor grasp. That moment, intangible and alive, whispered that your patience was not weakness, but the unfolding of a divine strategy. They did not realize that as you hushed your own voice, you tuned into a higher frequency, a current of sacred power that would one day turn back upon them like a wave breaking beyond the shore. In the crowded corridors of your mind, you have carried the weight of confusion and the ache of feeling too much or not enough. You remember nights when tears filled your pillow while laughter echoed in the next room, leaving you wondering why joy seemed to bypass your spirit. You have clung to fragments of belonging, a glance of approval, a nod of acknowledgement, only to watch them slip away like mist. Their mocking laughter, the sideways glances, the hushed comments behind your back. All of these left you questioning your worth. Yet these very moments forged an inner resilience, an unspoken resolve that would transform their scorn into the backdrop for your emergence. What if every glance of dismissal was a signpost on the road to your destiny? Beneath the surface of their judgments lay a blueprint written by unseen hands, guiding your steps toward awakening. In Habakkuk 2 verse 3 we are told that the vision is for an appointed time, and now you see that every delay, every moment of being misunderstood was part of a divine timetable. Like Joseph in Genesis, sold by brothers who could not recognize his purpose, you endure betrayal so that glory might be revealed. Your story was always choreographed by a cosmic playwright who waited patiently for the scene to be set before unveiling the hero. Subtle stirrings have begun to weave themselves into your days. A sudden hush when you enter a room, a quiet discomfort in the air as soon as you speak truth. You find yourself pausing at chance phrases in books as if they were written just for you, or noticing repeated symbols. Clock stopped at 3:33. Birds seeming to appear at your window when you need comfort. These are not coincidences, but markers on an invisible map, aligning to guide your awakening. Each déjà vu becomes a nod from a universe, each whisper inside a breadcrumb on a path you once walked only in dreams. In this poetic dance of signs, the veil thins, and you glimpse the choreography behind the scenes. There comes a moment when that inner voice, faint at first, rises to affirm what your heart has always known. You were never imagining these stirrings. Your sensitivity was never a flaw, but your compass, like the prophet Elijah hearing the still, small voice in 1 Kings 19, you learn to trust the quiet affirmation echoing through your soul. As fear and doubt recede, you find an unexpected peace settling in your bones, a steady assurance that you are exactly where you need to be. In this gentle unfolding, you discover a sanctuary within, a place of refuge no force can breach. Deeper now, you sense that remembering who you are is an excavation, not an invention. Your true identity lies buried beneath layers of expectation, hurt, and adaptation. In Proverbs 20 verse 5, we read that the purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, and you are beginning to dive into that depth, retrieving fragments of ancient memory, a lullaby your grandmother once hummed, a fragment of a dream from childhood, a whisper of a name you felt drawn to pray. These recovered pieces form an archetypal mosaic, revealing the contours of your soul's blueprint. With each reclaimed shard, the person you always were steps more fully into the light. Now, feel the first surge of power as you embrace the reality of your own wisdom and longing, your attentiveness to subtle energies, once dismissed as daydreaming, transforms into a sacred gift. You begin to stand a fraction taller when you sense injustice, speak a fraction louder when you taste falsehood, and walk a fraction more boldly when you feel the tug of purpose on your heart. This is not a sudden explosion, but a deliberate step forward, a declaration that your spiritual hunger is a signal and the sustenance of your next phase. With each intentional breath, you activate a latent force that has been waiting for your permission to arise. Your arrival to this threshold was never an accident. It was inscribed into the cosmos before your first breath. You now stand at the confluence of timing and destiny, where every encounter, every hardship, and every whisper of wonder converges into a singular revelation. Comment mirror if you've noticed their unrest reflected back at you, and share a moment when a quiet breakthrough confirmed your path. And as you prepare to step into the next revelation, where divine justice shifts the cosmic scales, embrace the tension as the miracle in motion unfolds before your very eyes. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Signs are losing peace. A flicker of movement at the corner of your eye, a chair pushed back too quickly, a door closed without a sound, has become an unsettling rhythm in your days. You notice the air grow thick around conversations that once felt easy, as though an invisible weight settles on your shoulders whenever you speak your truth. In those moments, a quiet heaviness sinks into your bones, whispering that something has been working against the natural flow of your life, long before you ever claimed your awakening. It is as if unseen currents have been redirected to resist your rise, and the first tremor of that resistance courses through every interaction you have, announcing that forces both mundane and hidden are stirring in response to the light you carry. When words you share with vulnerable honesty are met with furrowed brows or quick dismissals, the sting of being too intense or too sensitive cuts deeper than you expected. You recall the sinking feeling in team meetings when your carefully crafted ideas passed over, the shadow that crosses a friend's face when you mention your visions, and the rush of shame that follows their attempts to make you doubt your own experiences. Isolation blooms in your chest as you wonder if you have misread the signs, if you have misunderstood yourself. The cycle of self-doubt coils tighter with each encounter, leaving you questioning whether your higher calling is worth the pain of being misunderstood or even actively opposed. But this pressure was never random or meaningless. Beneath every uncomfortable glance and every undermining comment lies a structure built to protect the status quo from those who dare to disrupt it. In the ancient narrative of Israel's exile into Babylon, you see a reflection of your own journey, a people uprooted and oppressed not because they were weak, but because their covenant bond posed a threat to empires built on fear and superficial order. Just as the captives of old sought to silence prophetic voices, the systems you face, whether corporate hierarchies, cultural norms, or spiritual strongholds, react to your potential with covert sabotage. They feel the tremor of your emerging power and mobilize every resource they have to maintain their dominion. Now look back and recognize a pattern. The projects that faltered at their peak, the friendships that fractured when your purpose became clear, the financial doors that slammed just as you gained traction. These were not isolated frustrations, but signposts on a map you were meant to follow, and each obstacle was placed to test your resolve and refine your direction. Like a sculptor chipping away excess stone, these recurrent betrayals and draining environments have peeled back layers of doubt, revealing the contours of your destiny beneath the surface. Turning on this light may feel unsettling, but it is a clarity you need to navigate the true terrain of your soul's mission. At first, the interference felt insidious, a fog settling around your thoughts, a heaviness that stifled your prayers, a silent watcher perched at the edge of every breakthrough. You might have sensed your energy flagging in sacred spaces, or felt your intentions thwarted by inexplicable setbacks. This is spiritual sabotage in its rawest form, a distortion that arises when your light becomes too bright for the shadows to bear. The heavy air and the closed doors are not judgment on you. They are signals that your emergence is triggering a realignment of energies in realms you cannot yet see. This moment marks a shift from hidden threat to visible resistance, a turning point inviting you to equip yourself for what lies ahead. Faced with this onslaught, you may have retreated into yourself, biting back your words and numbing the very gifts that set you apart. Perhaps you sought refuge in conformity, tucking your insights away and trying to fit within the lines drawn by others. Or you rebelled quietly, letting anger simmer beneath a forced smile, wondering if the cost of speaking up was worth the isolation it brought. In those dark nights of the soul, you wrestled with fear of standing out, wrestled with the temptation to shrink back into the safety of anonymity. Yet every time you cowered, a spark of regret followed, reminding you that your silence carried a price no peace could ever justify. But here's the truth they cannot silence. The resistance you face is proof of your divine alignment, not your failure. The very forces that sought to block your path have unwittingly confirmed the direction your soul is meant to take. Now is the moment to reclaim the voice you hushed, the insights you buried beneath layers of doubt, and to reignite the flames of courage that flickered when you first answered your call. Speak the words your ancestors died waiting to hear. Stand in the power they prayed would one day rise, and let your presence become a trumpet blast that no shadow can mute. You are not a victim of these trials. You are their catalyst. You were opposed because you are powerful, and the more they try to block you, the clearer your purpose became. Each act of sabotage, each whisper of doubt, each barrier erected against you has served to sharpen the edge of your resolve. Comment strength if you feel the echo of their unrest fueling your determination. Share a moment when you realize that every attempt to suppress you only stoked the fire within. And as the second turning point of this journey settles into your bones, prepare for the next revelation, the unveiling of divine responses that will rise in harmony with your reclaimed voice, announcing the true scale of the cosmic shift underway. And to every soul who supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters. Your belief matters. And your light is felt here. Heaven's response to your restraint. Have you ever felt a subtle shift in the air, a stillness that washes over you the moment you choose not to strike back? In that instant, the world seems to pause, as if reality itself draws a breath to witness your restraint. You sense an unexpected clarity blooming within, a sudden knowing that your silence is not absence but presence. It is the moment your spirit recognizes a new dimension of power, a divinely orchestrated hush that opens the gates for a response far greater than any human retort. In this dawning perception, you realize that what felt like holding back was actually stepping aside for something sacred to move in its perfect timing. In the hidden language of the soul, everything around you has been whispering in codes you're only now learning to read. The clock that always paused at the very second you chose calm, the stray melody that drifted through your window just as you settled into prayer, the number sequences 1111, 316, etched on receipts and license plates. These are not coincidences but divine signatures. Imagine reality as a vast scroll of celestial geometry, where each symbol aligns to your act of stillness, unlocking a pattern of support that remains invisible to those who demand immediate action. You stand at the threshold of the sacred script, eyes opening to read the divine math that celebrates your restraint as the true signal for angels to advance. Deep within, you feel the echoes of this turning tide reverberate through your bones. Your intuition, once a soft murmur, now hums like a vibrant chord, guiding your next steps with unerring precision. You notice boundaries rising around you like transparent walls of light, energetic safeguards that deflect negativity and honor your chosen calm. In crowded spaces, you feel a protective pulse, as though your restraint has called forth guardians who buffet away discordant forces. Each time you resist the urge to react, your internal energy realigns, growing sharper, more focused, until you walk anchored in quiet authority, that whatever you met was always met on your terms. As your inner world transforms, the outer realm begins to mirror this divine choreography. Doors that slammed shut before now open with gentle ease. Conversations that once bristled with conflict now flow with unexpected harmony. Yet alongside these blessings, you encounter pockets of resistance. Moments when colleagues who mocked your patience suddenly falter in their boldness, when opportunities arise in unlikely places, and when blessings seem to arrive on angelic wings. This dance of approach and retreat is no accident. It is a reflection of a higher architecture unfolding, where your restraint summons equal measures of grace and correction to align the world around you with your awakened purpose. A memory stirs, buried beneath years of doubt, of an ancient promise you sensed but could never name. Perhaps you once dreamed of a host of luminous beings standing at your back, or caught a glimpse of armored figures in a half-remembered vision. Now that memory crystallizes. Those celestial warriors were waiting for your moment of quiet surrender to marshal their ranks. In Zechariah 4 verse 6 we learn, "Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit." And suddenly the words echo in your soul as confirmation that the armies of heaven stand ready, called into motion by your refusal to engage in human combat. This activation of sacred memory ignites a magnetic certainty that you are never alone, and that your restraint is a key that unlocks ages-old alliances. With this revelation, your destiny steps out of the shadows into stark relief. The future you envisioned in fearful fragments now solidifies into a living path. Not one you must forge with struggle, but one you reclaim by remembering what was written before time began. You no longer seek permission, for you know the authority you wield was granted at the creation of worlds. Your voice, once hushed by doubt, rises in prophetic clarity, calling you forward into tasks that resonate with the very heartbeat of heaven. This is not ambition. It is remembrance, a resurrection of purpose that demands you walk boldly in the power you were born to manifest. Now feel the surge of reclamation as you take back what was never truly lost. Your voice, your vision, your right to act as a co-creator with the divine. The forces that sought to silence you now serve as witnesses to your return. A fierce, prophetic declaration that your silence was always your trumpet call. Speak the words you carried in secret. Unleash the insight you honed in quiet corners. And let the world witness the authority that blooms when restraint meets revelation. You are handing back the mantle you misplaced in conformity, reclaiming the crown that was hidden beneath the veils of fear and expectation. This revelation is not an end, but an invitation into greater mysteries. The heavens have moved in your silence. Now it is time for revelation to become visible in your life. Comment silence if you felt the power of your unspoken strength, and share a moment when you sensed unseen armies rallying around your calm. As you prepare for the next wave, where divine correction reshapes every hidden plot, hold this vision close. Your stillness summoned the cosmos, and the unfolding chapters will prove that the greatest battles are won in the quiet spaces of the soul. Signs are losing peace. Have you ever stood at the edge of a moment so clear it changes everything? Before you now lies a threshold, the quiet catalog of their unrest, the restless pacing, the sleepless nights they cannot explain, all gather like stones in your hands. You feel the question rise in your heart, sharp and unyielding. Will you remain the silent witness to their turmoil, or will you step through the veil and claim the authority that your peace has provoked? This is no longer a time for hesitation or hidden prayers. The cosmic scales are tipped, and you must choose which future you will embody. Passivity has become the very thing that sustains the old order. Today, you cross the threshold and step firmly into the role you were destined to fill. In seasons past, you surrendered your time and your voice to fit the mold they built around you, holding back insights lest you be labeled too outspoken, dimming your presence to ease their discomfort. But now you see those sacrifices for what they were, rigorous training for the revolution of your spirit. Every moment you silenced your wisdom, you learned resilience. Every flicker of energy you held back became a spark honed into purpose. Today, speak the ritual words that reclaim all you relinquished. I call back my time. I reclaim my voice. I restore my presence. In naming these fragments one by one, you forge a crown of surrender turned to sovereignty, a testament that what felt like failure was preparation for triumph. Look closely at the arsenal within you. The searing clarity born of long nights questioning your path, the empathetic pulse that reads the unspoken currents in any room, the memory of truths your soul whispered before the world spoke lies, the discernment that pivots on a single glance and knows exactly what to do next. These are not abstract virtues. They are keys etched in starlight, codes encrypted within your DNA, metals refined into armor by the fires of opposition. You carry insight that cuts through deception and a sensitivity that picks up the faintest tremor in the unseen realms. Hold these gifts aloft as your tools, not your weaknesses, for they will guide your footsteps as surely as any map. Feel the ground beneath your feet pulse with recognition. The path ahead is not hidden. It has been laid underfoot since your first breath. With every deliberate step, each decision made in alignment with your reclaimed truth, the map unfurls. You will see by walking, not by searching, one foot in front of the other. You activate clarity through motion, a handshake that seals an ally's loyalty, a firm boundary that reshapes toxic patterns, a bold declaration that dismantles illusions. Imagine the journey as a grand doorway. You push it open with intention, and the corridor of your mission reveals itself in real time. Direction and momentum merge as you take command of tomorrow. Now lift your gaze and see the horizon dotted with fellow travelers. Souls awakened by the same call, forming constellations of purpose across cultures and continents. You are not alone on this road. They rise beside you in hidden chambers of the heart and in whispered prayers at dawn. In ancient texts they are called the remnant. Today they form soul tribes and divine clusters who resonate with your frequency. No longer dim your light to blend into a fading world. Let its brilliance draw these kindred spirits close. Together, you become a tapestry of intention, weaving new patterns of hope and justice that will endure long after the old frameworks crumble. With that shared field of awakening underfoot, it is time to take energetic command. This is not a call to swelled ego, but to sacred stewardship. Recognize that every choice you make now, what you allow into your presence, what you banish in prayer, shapes not only your reality but the collective destiny. Set boundaries like temple walls, choosing devotion over distraction, integrity over convenience. Let each yes be an offering to your highest self, each no a shield guarding your sanctity. This ceremony of alignment consecrates your role as both guardian and catalyst, entrusted with forces that reverberate through the unseen realms. All the fears you wrestled, all the betrayals that cut you deep, every moment of doubt that once shackled your heart, know that they were necessary preludes to this final charge. Now stand tall and hear the clarion call resonate through your spirit. You are ready. The covenant spoken before stars formed lives in your veins. You carry the promise of generations whose voices were stilled, and now they speak through you. Let doubt dissolve in the light of this declaration. Let hesitation yield to the surety that you were born to fulfill this purpose. The portal stands open. Step through with unwavering faith. This is not merely a message. It is a summons to embodiment. Your life from here on is the living testament to the truth you have uncovered. Common authority if you pledge to claim your power and share a moment when you first felt its weight returning to your shoulders. Invite us into your dream, your vision, or that inner knowing that confirmed this call. As you seal this covenant in community, prepare yourself for revelations ahead. The strategies, the alliances, the divine breakthroughs that await just beyond this turning point. The next chapter beckons, ready to reveal how the cosmic forces align in concert with your every step. The justice hidden in reversal. A flash of insight strikes like sunrise through a slit in heavy clouds, and you sense that something is shifting beneath the surface of your world. You stand at the divide between what was broken and what must now be made whole, and in that moment you ask yourself, will I lean into the hidden hand that aligns justice, or will I cling to the shattered pieces of old control? The choice is not theoretical but visceral. You feel in the hollow beneath your ribs where tension once held you captive. This is the sacred crossroads where passivity ends and purpose begins. At this threshold, the quiet hum of cosmic gears greets your readiness, inviting you to step forward and trust that the rebalance underway is more precise than any thunderclap. A gentle inner voice reminds you of every hour you devoted to patching holes that were never yours to mend, the labor of smoothing over egos, the energy you lent to spin tales into gold, the way you swallowed shame to keep the peace. That season was not a sign of failure, but a workshop for endurance and discernment. Now, as that workshop closes, you gather all that you poured out, time, attention, presence, like water from a broken vessel, and set it at the feet of something greater. Declare internally, as priests once did when they returned tithes to the temple treasury, I call it back. I reclaim what I gave. This is no act of bitterness, but a ritual of authority, a reclamation of the throne you have trained to ascend. In your hands lie tools they mistook for flaws. Insight that sees the architecture of motives, sensitivity that tastes dishonesty like bitterness on the tongue, memory that records the unspoken with photographic precision, discernment that separates signal from noise, and strength honed in silent watchfulness. These are not burdens. They are keys that unlock hidden chambers of power. Picture each as a scroll inscribed with your destiny, a piece of armor forged in fires they could never light, a code that decrypts false narratives. As you name these gifts, you no longer shrink from them but wear them like a warrior's mantle, visible, undeniable, luminous. Your feet already stand on the road you thought you'd have to find. It winds through valleys that once echoed with your suppressed voice and over peaks shaped by every trial you endured. With each step, clarity takes form beneath your soles, a meeting fallen into place, a conversation that flows without struggle, a project that demands your presence in perfect timing. This path was laid by the footsteps you refused to erase, and now the map reveals itself in cinematic fashion. Doors open at the right hour, signals arriving in symbols you once overlooked, allies stepping forward from unexpected directions. You walk as one who navigates by inner compass, not by chasing destination. Look out and you'll see others rising in tandem. Soul tribes awaken on every continent, gathering in quiet rooms, digital spaces, and secret prayer circles. Across the divide of old systems dissolving, they form clusters of vision, healers, dreamers, strategists, lovers of truth, each carrying a torch borrowed from your stillness. No longer will you dim your flame to blend into the collapsing structures that fed on your light. Instead, stand with those who match your frequency and feel the power of shared fire. As the sound of one voice becomes chorus, strength grows exponentially. You join a rising order that knows restoration is not solo work, but collective symphony. Take up the stewardship of your own energy as though you are tending sacred flame. This is no act of pride, but devotion. Choose what to fuel and what to let burn away. Set boundaries as priests did at temple gates, knowing what may pass and what must remain outside. Let vows form in your heart. To speak only in alignment, to pause when dissonance beckons, to rest when conviction calls for stillness. Your energy is currency passed through holy hands, spent on the fields where life grows, not on the shadows feeding on anxiety. Treat your devotion like incense, offered willingly, lifted by divine wind. Hear now the proclamation that turns anticipation into action. Every fear you faced, every burden you bore, every moment you hid your light has led to this unveiling. You've been tempered like bronze in crucible flames. The sting of betrayal you thought left scars now stands as proof of your irrefutable edge. The silence you maintained to guard truth has become the signal that summons restoration. You are ready. Say it with your whole being. I am ready. In that moment, the portal swings wide and the field shifts beneath your feet, not to swallow you, but to carry you into new ground. This is no longer a message. It is a summons. Rise to embody the reversal that unravels deceit and rebuilds integrity. Let each word you speak fall like a seed in fertile soil, intended to rebalance, realign, restore. Comment truth if you believe divine order always restores what was stolen, and share a brief reflection, a dream, a memory, an inner knowing that showed you perfection of timing in your own life. Your voice in that comment becomes signal for others who stand ready. Stay close, for the next wave of revelation awaits. When faltering structures finally give way, we will move into the unveiling of your rightful place at the center of restored community, where your mission awaits its fullest expression. In that hushed moment, you grasp that your very stillness has become a conduit for justice far exceeding any human plan. Like the prophet Habakkuk, who waited for the vision fulfilled and saw the fig tree blossom out of season, you witnessed the barren ground of your patience suddenly burst into healing. In the space between your steady breath and their frantic scheming, a sacred alchemy transformed betrayal into balm. Your calm did not surrender. It summoned celestial forces that moved in perfect timing, proving that mercy enacted at the right moment carries a power beyond the fiercest sword. Your stillness was never weakness. It was a trumpet that summoned divine deliverance. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment, I am chosen to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. 4 full prophetic revelations daily. Join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the super thanks button to to support the mission. Every super thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Stand calm, Chosen One. The shift has only begun.